Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we take what might look like, well, a random stack of sources and really dig in to find the connections, the insights you might miss. And today, we've got something pretty unique. Our material is all from Tarot by High C. It's a mix of their daily astrology insights and one of their short stories. Now, I know it might sound a bit whimsical maybe,
Yeah.
but trust me, we're going to pull out some really potent lessons from this about, reality delusion and keeping your feet on the ground.
Absolutely. Our mission today really is to explore that fine line, that delicate balance between having big dreams and, well, facing the cold, hard facts of reality. It's about how you hold on to optimism, that hopeful energy, but make sure your actions are still, grounded. And the big question, the one we'll keep coming back to, is how does inspiration sometimes tip over into delusion? These sources, they give us both a warning and actually a pretty practical guide.
Okay, let's jump right in then. Starting with the vibe. The general energy for June 18th, 2025, according to the source. It talks about opening hearts, leaning into discomfort a bit, maybe talk about what holds us back, but doing it all with a gentle touch. The big themes are surrender, compassion, spiritual connection, letting go of old stuff. But here's the bit that really jumped out at me. Tonight, there's a blurring of the lines between reality and illusion. That feels like it sets everything up, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. That phrase is key. It perfectly captures the central tension we're looking at today. I mean, how do you expand your spiritual side, embrace these big visions, connect with something bigger than yourself without completely losing touch with practical wisdom? That blurring, that's exactly what we need to get a handle on.
Right, the practical wisdom part. And speaking of blurred lines, the source mentions a specific astrological thing happening, Jupiter square Neptune. For listeners maybe not deep into astrology, what kind of feeling, what energy does that alignment usually signal?
Well, Jupiter square Neptune, it's a classic signal for a very human trap, you could say. It really spotlights that tendency towards delusional optimism. It's that situation where, your genuine desire to feel safe, to feel good, it makes you kind of over-idealize things, you put rose-tinted glasses on, and that makes it super hard to establish boundaries. The source specifically mentions things like magical thinking and warns about disappointments, delusions, emotional overcommitment. It's this weird paradox where, yeah, good intentions abound, but reality is foggy. It really shows how easily hope can just drift away from what's actually real.
So it really just boils down to that question they ask. Are we inspired or just escaping? That's the core of it. And the advice seems so direct.
Yeah.
Keep at least one foot on the ground, no matter how tempting it is to fly far, far away, like
Yeah.
a direct countermeasure.
Exactly. And if you think about the wider implications, it's a warning that unrealistic expectations can ultimately lead to disappointment. This whole energy challenges you, basically, to use that big enthusiasm, that drive for something better, but crucially, without losing sight of where you actually are right now. The call to action is clear. Time to turn soft focus into sharp strategy.
Okay, that's a perfect segue, because nothing shows that soft focus versus sharp strategy idea better than the story they included for the day. It's called The Kingdom of EVERVEIL. It's like a narrative version of everything we just talked about.
Yeah.
So picture this city, EVERVEIL, right on the edge of the world. The sky and sea just kind of melt together in this hazy, dreamlike way. And the people there, known for their boundless optimism. They had this tireless belief that anything was possible if only one wished hard enough, dreamed long enough, or prayed loud enough. And they had this central legend about a shimmering veil of light leading to some realm beyond.
Yeah, but here's the kicker, the detail that tells you everything. Yet no one noticed the ground crumbling beneath their feet. The city was just so lost in its soft, focused dreaming it forgot the basic rule. The higher the tower of illusion, the farther the fall. It's such a stark image of optimism without roots.
That brings us to Mira. She's a young scribe there, and even though she grew up hearing all these stories, she starts to see, well, inconsistencies. As she's copying old texts, she notices cracks in the words, contradictions, forgotten warnings, histories buried beneath polished tales. She's the one noticing the crumbling ground, basically.
And this underlying weakness, this denial, it gets exploited when a character named Ilan shows up. He brings these grand prophecies, talks about an upcoming ascension, and people buy into it. They literally abandon their work, their homes, their sense, completely convinced they were about to be whisked away to this realm beyond. The source says the city just fell into euphoria, untethered by reason, laws forgotten, boundaries gone, hearts overcommitted. It's a textbook example of that Jupiter square Neptune emotional overcommitment.
What gets me is Mira's internal conflict. She's scared, but she's also questioning her own fear, her skepticism. Like, is she wrong? Is she missing out? There's that pull, that temptation to just escape the ache of doubt
Yeah.
and be carried by the tide of collective hope. And I think, we can all kind of recognize that feeling.
It's a huge moment of choice for her, and her turning point, according to the story, comes when she remembers this line from an old, forgotten text. Keep one foot upon the earth, lest you vanish with the mist. Which, of course, directly mirrors the astrological advice we were just discussing. It's what anchors her when everyone else is floating off.
Exactly. And that anchor saves her. She stayed grounded, it says. And from that position, she watched how good intentions twisted into fanaticism, how magic bled into delusion, how dreams that had once uplifted now blinded. It really draws that line so clearly, doesn't it? Between healthy inspiration and just fantasy running wild.
It does. And the story doesn't flinch from the climax. Ilan leads his followers to the cliff's edge. The veil is shimmering like crazy. People are claiming they see hands reaching out. And then, tragedy. One by one they leapt. But there was no ascension. Only mist. Only sea. It's just stark. A really brutal outcome.
It really is. And the aftermath described is just as powerful. By dawn, the city was quieter. Those who didn't jump, like Mira, are left picking up the broken remnants of their illusions and veil. No longer shimmering, just hung like a tattered curtain, reality crashing back in hard.
But interestingly, this collapse isn't just an end. It marks the start of a new era in EVERVEIL. An era where dreams are still valued, yes, but they're tempered with strategy, with care, with grounded wisdom. And Mira becomes the keeper of the records. Not to forget, but to make sure the lesson sticks. The message for us, reading the story, is right there. Let yourself dream, but walk the earth while you do.
So EVERVEIL finds its way back. They learn to ground their wisdom. Which makes me think, do the daily astrological bits offer like a practical guide for doing that? Do they echo that journey back to grounded dreaming?
Oh, they absolutely do. That's the beauty of seeing these sources together. The daily movements aren't just descriptions. They kind of offer a step-by-step for navigating this. So, for example, the source points out that around midday, there's a Pisces moon aspect suggesting we release what no longer serves us and make space for new beginnings. That's exactly what EVERVEIL had to do, let go of those dangerous illusions. Then, come the afternoon, another aspect encourages us to watch for innovative solutions and unexpected insights. Think about Mira finding that forgotten line in the text. That's her unexpected insight, her anchor.
Okay, right. And then the tonight aspects, they seem to map out that whole shift from the soft focus to the sharp strategy we talked about earlier.
Precisely. You see the Aries moon aspect pushing for structure and discipline, vital for EVERVEIL's new grounded approach. Then another aspect warns about balancing enthusiasm and limitations. That's the core Jupiter square Neptune challenge, right there in the daily advice. But it's not all about limits. Other aspects tonight highlight intuition, imagination, and connection to the divine, showing, how you keep the positive dream alive without it becoming delusion. And finally, there's an aspect encouraging us to transform challenges into opportunities for growth and healing, which is exactly the task facing Mira and the others who remained in EVERVEIL.
Wow. So yeah, the daily aspects really do provide almost a roadmap for putting that soft focus into sharp strategy. It allows for the spiritual side, the dreams, but with that grounded wisdom. It's a really neat integration.
Yeah, what really emerges when you put it all together is that the message isn't don't dream. It's not don't hope or don't be optimistic, not at all. It's more about dreaming with discernment. It's about being aware, sharply aware of the ground under your feet, even while you're reaching for the stars. It really makes you think, how do we personally maintain that critical thinking, those healthy boundaries, when we're faced with something really compelling, maybe a collective hope that feels amazing?
That is a powerful question. And it feels like the perfect takeaway from this deep dive. Connecting these sources, the astrology and the story, it really highlights this constant dance, doesn't it, between our amazing capacity to dream big and the absolute need to stay anchored in what's real. So the final thought for you to mull over, drawing from all this, as you follow your own dreams, your own big visions, how do you make sure they're building something solid, something real for the future, and not just weaving a beautiful shimmering veil of mist?